Panasonic's pint-sized GX85 mirrorless camera was launched in 2016, but it's still on sale, and it's actually pretty good. Called the Panasonic GX85 in the US, the Panasonic Lumix GX80 is a real survivor that suggests that some of the best ideas in camera manufacture have already been had. The controls have been pared back compared to the GX8. There's no dedicated exposure compensation dial or manual focus switch. Exposure compensation is still pretty quick to access by pushing the rear command dial inwards and spinning it, although I wonder how many people will find this function. Initially I couldn't find the aperture control, but eventually realized that the shutter button is encircled by a command dial. I also struggle to locate the Q menu as the button has 4 labels associated with it. Perhaps it's just me. The screen tilts up 90 degrees and down 45 degrees, which isn't quite as flexible as the GX8's fully articulated screen, but this one is easier to tilt upwards. The shutter mechanism has been redesigned, apparently in an effort to reduce shutter shock that can cause a small amount of shake as the shutter opens. It's also quieter as a result, which could be useful when you need to be unobtrusive. Meanwhile, an electronic shutter option is totally silent, and supports shutter speeds up to 1/16,000 seconds. The Lumix GX80 is pretty unspectacular in current camera terms. It's a super compact micro four thirds mirrorless camera launched way back in 2016 with a pretty modest 16 megapixel sensor, but can capture 4K video. Has Panasonic's clever 8 megapixels 4K photo modes, and even packs in an electronic viewfinder. If you're fixated on megapixels, then you're unlikely to be impressed, but it's worth pointing out that the sensor has no anti-aliasing filter, so the images are going to look that little bit sharper. It's also worth pointing out that in our post-print world, most of us share images on social media via digital displays, where 16 megapixels is overkill. And if you do want a wall-size print, the GX80's images will give you a 15-inch wide print at a standard 300 dpi, and will still look sharp at sizes bigger than that. The Lumix GX80 is usually sold with a 12 to 32mm pancake kit lens, which is as compact and portable as the camera itself. In the US, the camera is called the GX85, and is generally sold as a twin lens kit with a 12 to 32mm lens, and a 45 to 150mm telephoto lens, which is equivalent to a 90 to 300mm telephoto in full-frame terms, but a fraction of the size and weight. The GX80's videos are extremely high quality. Its 4K footage blows any 1080p camera out of the water, even when comparing them on a 1080p display. Autofocus is smooth, responsive and easy to control via the touchscreen. Compare it to the superb Fujifilm X-T10, and the GX80 looks extremely impressive with its superior autofocus controls, touchscreen, 4K video and wealth of exotic shooting modes. It's up to you to decide whether these features are worth more than the X-T10's superior exposure controls and lower noise levels. It's interesting that Panasonic is following Sony's route and keeping older models on sale to tempt beginners into their camera systems. In fact, many of the best cameras for beginners are discounted older models. In fact, we'd also put the GX80 forward as one of the best cameras for travel. It's a bit worrying that no one seems to be making new beginner cameras anymore, but as long as affordable bargains like the GX80 are still around, then maybe we should worry after all. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate every comment from you. Subscribe to the channel. See you soon.